All right, today I have a conversation with an old friend, Gregg Phillips. Gregg is the founder of CoverMe, which is a SaaS-enabled healthcare finance marketplace that's focused on real-time coverage, eligibility, and data verification of patients as they enter into the health system. Gregg's got a really interesting background as well. He was former commissioner of the Texas Health and Human Services Commission. He also ran the Mississippi Department of Human Services. And in a conversation recently with Gregg, he was telling me about how they've had to pivot a little bit and create some new services and solutions because of the pandemic. So with that, I want to get Gregg on to talk a little bit about that. So Gregg, welcome. Thank you for doing this, and kind of give me a little background on some of this.
Thank you so much, Hayes. I really appreciate it. Our ability to pivot really came about because we were recognizing what was happening to so many healthcare providers out there, hospitals and others, that were really having to adapt to all of the changes, having to adapt to, empty hospital rooms. They were having to adapt to empty ERs. Not that the people didn't need health care, it's just they were either afraid to come to the hospital or were prevented from coming to the hospital. So one of the key things that we were able to pivot to was to create a touchless eligibility, enrollment, and patient finance system. So we could send a text to a patient, allow them to scan in their driver's license, scan in their insurance card, and literally, without ever even talking to the patient, check their coverage, take them through our marketplace and into a component where we could offer a financing option if they needed it. We could offer maybe access to one of the hospital's programs for financial assistance or charity care, and of course looking through the government programs. But being able to do that on a touchless basis was so timely and perfect that it really sort of elevated us or escalated us into an environment where we have a huge opportunity to offer a feature to hospitals and to other providers that can be an absolute game changer.
And it sounds very exciting, actually. And so that would tell me how that might dovetail in with the advent of video care, telehealth, virtual care. Tell me a little bit how that might work together, do you think?
Yeah, first of all, let me say I have the best software development team on the planet, because as we set this out and we developed this platform, it used to be that we were very narrow. We looked kind of at Medicaid, not only, but Medicaid primarily. When they rebuilt, our dev team rebuilt our platform over the last few years, they created a mechanism for asynchronous inputs. So rather than just a patient financial assistance interviewer sitting there and interviewing you and typing all the information in as you talked, they created an ability on an asynchronous sort of unconnected basis to be able to get information, the setup of a case, from an EHR or an EMR. We had the ability to connect to the patients directly in this text-based environment. We have a call center that people can call into and get data entered into the system. So I think, sort of in retrospect, as I look back on all of this and how we created the platform and how our development team configured and identified sort of what might be needed to move us really into the future, it was that ability to create and accept asynchronous transactions into our system. What that gives us the ability to do is to, no matter how that person comes in to the hospital, it used to be in my government space, we call it no wrong door. Well, that's kind of what we have now. If you come in through the EMR, if you come in through a text, if you come in through our call center, or if you come in sort of old school, sit down with a patient financial assistance person, we have the ability to deal with all of those. And then as you begin to plug in other provider types, whether it be through this virtual healthcare, telehealth, those kind of activities, being able to sync those into our system, make a real-time decision, and then give that information back to that provider is game changing.
Absolutely. I mean, in some cases, even if they go into the ED or a doctor's office for the very first time, in some cases right now, those patients or the caregivers, they literally are in PPE taking some of this information from some of these patients.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, and people going through these drive-through testing clinics and all of this thing, it really has, I think, highlighted again that platform that we built that gives us the ability to broadly connect in any way that the patient needs. As one of my partners says, meet the patients where they're at, and that's what CoverMe is now able to do.
I love it. I think it's fantastic. That's the reason I wanted to have a conversation with you today. So tell me, if you're a hospital out there and they want to find a little bit more about CoverMe, how do they do that?
Absolutely. Call me. My cell phone number is 512-241-9789. My email address is Gregg, Gregg, at cover.me. Our URL is cover.me. And one of us will get back to you. And if you call me directly, I'll call you back promptly. We can implement these things in our system in a matter of hours. And it's just it's a much needed service at the best time possible. We're making great deals during this situation. We recognize that providers are in trouble, they're having problems, so we can come in, we'll make a business deal with you later. Let's get this thing installed, and let's help you out.
I appreciate that. I love it. I love the willingness to help and work right now when we need it. So thanks so much, Gregg, for doing this. We'll be in touch, and thank you again for your time today.
Thank you, Hayes.
Take care.